Hey everybody, it's John at the Gloucester Library, and for today's let's draw some fruit. So I'm going to start with an apple, and I'm going to draw some of the fruits whole as well as cut, so you can see and what the inside would look like and how to draw that as well. So for an apple, I'm going to start with the stem. Like a little stem that comes up, and maybe like a little leaf coming off of the stem. And I'm doing this first because the body of the apple will be drawn around it. So I'm doing things in order of what would be on top, and then go back to the last layer, as you'd call it, layering of your lines. This is kind of what you do if you were painting too. You do it reverse though. You do the back and then build up your color and everything on top. In an illustration, we do the opposite. We do the stuff on top first and work our way back. So I'm going to do that stem and a leaf, and then the shape of the apple. So I have like 1, 2, 3 little bumps showing on the bottom. And it has like 2 bumps on top, and you can kind of draw like a shape like that to show where the bumps continue. So there'd be an apple. You can also that was with more of seeing like the top of it. If you want to see it more from the side, just do your bumps lower on the top. And have your stem stick up, that'd be more like a side view. You can do like a little shape like that, just to show where it's going into, and like the top of the apple is going in as well. Alright, and like the inside of the apple, if you cut it open, it's going to have that same shape. Oops. Starting to skip a little bit there. So same type of shape, and you'll have like your little stem. If it's still left on the end, if you cut it in half, the stem will be on one or the other half, but we'll say we're doing the half that it's on, and draw like a little line up here just to show some of the colored part of the apple, red or green, that shows through the skin of the apple. And then the inside, the core, do like a lighter line, just to show that there's a core in there, and then 2 little seeds inside of the core, just like that. And if we were to go in and color it, if you're working with paint, of course it'll be different. You'll do your darker shades usually first, or your background colors first, and then build up on top. But when we're coloring in our illustrations, we want to do, usually, like if you're working with colored pencils or crayons, do your lighter colors first. So I'm going to color like my core first. So I'm going to pick like a kind of like a tan color for inside of there. Like a tan, maybe a tan type yellow. And I'm going to use a tool that's going to let me color more lightly. There we go. So give your core like a tannish yellow color, and then your seeds would be like a darker brown. You can go ahead and color those in. There we go. And then I'm going to have this one be a red apple. So I'm going to pick a red color for the skin. Color that in. There we go. And then I'm going to do the stems. I'm going to use a brown for the stems. So do this one stem first. So there we go. We got our finished half of a red apple. Color in the stem on this one. And then I'm going to color in green for the leaf. I'm going to pick like a darker, fairly dark green for the leaf on there. Alright, and then that one I want to be a green apple. I'm going to pick a lighter shade of green. There we go, and we got my green apple. Alright, whole apple, half apple. Now, let's see, what should we do next? For this one, let's do grapes. And I'm not going to show any grapes cut up, but for grapes, they're in a bunch. So what we'll do, a lot of times the way it'll work is they'll start with a big part on the bunch, and then it'll get thinner as you get to the end of the bunch. So I'll start at the thicker part, and I'll draw one grape shape. And then from here, the other ones will kind of go down towards the tip of the bunch, and they'll kind of overlap each other. So you'll have like these here, making up the first part. There we go. And then now they're going to kind of overlap more as you go through the bunch. And they start to not all be in a perfect line. They start to get a little bit more random. So they don't go perfectly across the whole way. Sometimes they shoot out a little bit more, and sometimes there's some in between. They're not totally uniform, which makes it fun to draw. See, like that one's really far out, and that one will have its own little spot. Now, if you find that yours are still going in a line, that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes they look a little bit more in line, but I find most of them are kind of random. Alright, so there's our bunch of grapes, and you can do a couple leaves coming off of the grapes. They kind of have that kind of pointy pattern to them. Doing like the little center of the leaf and a few lines to show the veins of the leaf. Maybe do another one. See, this one's going to be behind this one, so it's kind of covered up a little bit. Do some more of the little veins in the leaf. Let's do one more, just a little one kind of poking out here. There we go. And maybe just like a bit of the stem, the branch there that it came from. A lot of times they have like the little curly parts from the vine on there. So you can draw a couple of them if you want. Alright. And then once you've done that, I'm going to do, there's usually purple grapes and green grapes, and there might be others I'm not aware of, but I'm going to do these as purple grapes. So I'm going to pick a purple color, a deeper, darker purple color for these. And if you're working with colored pencils or crayons, you can color lighter at the top to show like the light hitting it, and then color in and press down harder on the bottoms to show shade. So like lighter up here and then press down harder at the bottom. Just like that. Oh, I meant to do that on another layer. There we go. Just like that. And just take your time. Sometimes, you might want to be able to do some fruit for a still life, or maybe you just want to show like you have some characters that you like to draw and maybe put them in some stories, and you want to be able to draw food for the spots that they would be eating in their stories. So know how to draw these different things can be handy. Now I'm going to draw the leaf and pick like another type of darkish green for the leaf, and also for the little parts of the vine there. There we go. And the vine itself is a brown, so I'm going to use a brown color on that. Alright, there we go. We have our bunch of grapes. Alright, let's see. What should we do next? How about, let's do a pear. It's very similar to an apple, but the shape's a little different. So for a pear, if we start with our stem, do like a little skinny stem coming up like that. We can do another little leaf coming off of it. And then I'm going to do the shape of the pear. Now the pear is a little bump on top, and then a bigger bump on the bottom. Like that. And then if you want to do a little shape like this, just to show where it's still going in a little bit, not as much as an apple, but still going in a little bit on the top. And then I'll show what they look like when they're cut in half. So do the same shape, little bump on top, big bump on the bottom. You can still put a little stem in there if you want. And now they have a little core right in the middle there, and two little seeds there as well. And the pear is also going to be a light yellow-brown color, very, very light tan. I'll color that in quick. Here we go. And then I'm going to color in my seeds with a brown color. There we go. And do my stem with a brown color. And I'll do this stem as well while we're at it. And I'm going to make this a green pear. I'm going to do a darker green for the little leaf on top. I'm going to pick a lighter color for the pear. There we go. And if you want to, usually the pears have like smaller green freckles on the surface. If you have a way to do a little bit darker green and go in and put in a little bit of freckles in there, like that. Alright, and that's our pear. Alright, let's see. What should we do next? How about we do a pineapple? Pineapples can be difficult, but if you're drawing this in an illustrated style like this and you want to use it, say, for a comic or a cartoon, you don't have to do all the little details. Just make sure you get the shape so that people know what it is. So for the pineapple, it's going to have an oval shape like that, and then there's little sections. They're kind of like little diamond shapes. Now you don't have to draw all the diamond shapes. You can kind of hint at them with little V shapes like that. Does that make sense? It's kind of little V shapes. And some of them you can do like this and add some more lines to them, but you don't have to do it for every single one. Just a hint that there's these little sections that make up the outside of our pineapple. Alright, and then the leaves on top that come out, they kind of, they're long like that, and most of the time they kind of curve down to a shape like that. So you can imagine kind of like almost like a blade of grass, but it's bigger and thicker, but the same type of appearance, the way that they'll lay sometimes. Let's do some more. So you can have some stick up if you want. I kind of like the ones that curve over though. They're kind of fun to draw. And you don't have to do an exact number of them. There's there'll be multiple ones, but it's up to you how many you want to draw. So I'm going to do about that many. That works. And then if you want to do the inside, if you cut it open, it's still kind of rounded, but if you can think of those diamond shapes, how they'd look, from a different angle like that when you cut it, we kind of like that. So if you draw a circle and then kind of do these little points to show where these little sections are, that's kind of what it would look like straight on. And it's a little bit lighter in the middle, so if you can do like a light line to show where the coloring, the yellow, is going to be lighter in the middle, and then you have like some little fibers that make up the different sections in there, so you can maybe put some little dashes in there. Now I'm going to go in and color it. So remember, lighter yellow in the middle, maybe like that. So lighter in the middle, and then more of a brighter, vibrant yellow as you get towards the outside. There we go. And then the outside of the pineapple is kind of like a brown, depending, sometimes there's, when they're first picked, there's some green in there and some yellow, and as they ripen, it gets darker and it's more of like a brown, gold type color. So get like a good brown. And I might try to do that gold first, just to put the little flecks. The gold is usually kind of in the tips of the little sections, because they kind of poke out a little bit in the middles. Alright, and then I'll go in with that brown. You don't have to do it perfect, just if you don't want to do the gold part at all, that's okay. That's okay. It's a very detailed exterior to a pineapple, so it's up to you how much you want to put in. Alright, and then I'm going to do the leaves. I'm going to do them a dark green, very dark green. A little bit smaller. There we go. Alright, so pineapple. Alright, how about, let's do watermelon next. How about that? So for watermelon, their outside's pretty easy. It'll just be either a circular or oval type shape. I'm gonna make mine like a little bit of an oval, and a little spot for where the it was attached to the vine. And then they're going to have some stripes that go down the sides. Just like that. There we go. They're kind of bands of darker than lighter green. And then when you cut it open, let's say we'll do like a slice of watermelon. Do like a triangle shape, a wedge shape, and then we'll show like a little bit of the outside, the rind. Have it connect like that, makes it look a little 3D. So this is the outside of it, the rind. And you can do like a little light line to show where it goes from that to the reddish pink interior. You can draw like a few seeds too if you want. There's some pumpkin seeds, or not pumpkin, watermelon seeds in there. Alright, let's add some color. So for the outside of the watermelon, let's pick a green. I'm going to pick the light green first. Oops. There we go. Light green first, and do those stripes. So like every other stripe about. We'll do a light green. And if you don't have an even number of stripes, that's okay. You can go back in and draw an extra line so that you'll have enough stripes to where it could be every other. You know, if you can't do that, that's okay. Maybe just kind of make two stripes into one so that you have that every other one. And I'm going to go in and pick a darker green and do the other stripes. There we go. Alright, and I'm going to use that same green to show the rind there of my slice. And then inside, it's a very, very light yellowy green before it gets into the edible part of the watermelon. So let's color that in real quick. It's really light yellow green, and then the inside's like a pink red type shade. Oh yeah, there we go. That's what I think of when I think of watermelon. And let's do like a lighter shade of it first. Yeah, that looks good. And then like maybe a little darker if you can for here. I'm gonna color around my seeds. I'm going to color those brown, dark brown. There we go. Get a dark brown for my seeds. Alright, there we go. There's our watermelon. Alright, what should we do next? How about, let's do an orange. Oranges are pretty simple and be a fun one to draw. Alright, here we go. So an orange, outside very easy. Just draw a circle. You can kind of make it where it's not perfect. You can see like how I have some waviness in there. That's okay because there's texture to the skin on the orange, so it's okay if there's a little waviness in there. And I'm going to do the bottom part there. Kind of like a little star shape. There we go. And then when they're cut in half, let's do another circle. And you'll see that they're like little sections. So without bringing my lines all the way out to the end, I'm going to start drawing my little sections. They kind of go in towards a little circle. And you can draw them really light because the color is what's really going to make them stand out. There we go. And then I'll draw like the little lines connecting them. You can just kind of go in one big circle if you like, just like that. And then to color them in, I'm going to color my outside a nice bright orange color. There we go. I'll try to color around my stem if I can. There we go. And I'm going to do the orange color on the very outside of my sliced orange. There we go. And then the inside of the orange, before it gets into the slices and kind of down in the middle where these lines are, it's a very, very light shade of orange. Very, very light. Almost white. There we go. And then inside it'd be a nice bright orange, like on the outside, maybe like a little bit brighter. There we go. Let me just color those in. Alright, and then we'll do a little bit of green there on the bottom of this orange. There we go. There's our cut orange. Alright, let's do 2 more. How about for the next one we do a banana? Alright, so for the banana, I'm going to do it unpeeled and peeled. So for the unpeeled banana, they're kind of a curved crescent shape there, and they're thinner on the ends, thicker in the middle. So when you're doing it, try to get your lines to do that, to where they go to not quite a point, but they get thinner on the ends like that. And then on the bottom here, draw a little spot on the end, and then a little spot where it came off of the tree, the bunch of bananas came out of the tree. And then one line I'm going to show here just to show how it's got like the little edges there. It's not perfectly round. It's, got the 4 sides to it. So we see these 2 and the other 2 are on the other side. Alright, and then for a peeled banana, I'd say draw the inside first. It's kind of rounded like that, curved. And just think of that same shape. And then draw like a curve at the bottom. And then we're going to draw peels. Same thing where it's thick at the, where it meets it here and comes down to a thinner bit there. And I'm going to have it with 4 spots where it's been peeled. 4 little flaps. And this one's just going to go behind, so you just see a little bump. And then the rest of the bottom, I have it do the same thing. Comes down, starts thicker here, gets smaller towards the end. Alright, and you can even put like the same thing on this one, the little line that shows the sections where it's peeled. Maybe like a little line in here in the banana, the peeled part of the banana. And then let's go ahead and do some color. Alright, so the inside of the banana is like really, really light, kind of a really, really light yellow, white almost color. Let me pick this, there we go, and color that in. So if you have a really light yellow, or maybe like with a tan color and just color in real lightly, probably tan would be better with crayons or colored pencils. And you can use that same for the peel, the inside of the peel that we see. So we'll color that in as well. And this one, and this one, and this one. Alright, now let's find a bright yellow for the peel of the banana. There we go. And we'll use that to color in the peel. There we go. We can go over here and color this one in as well. Alright, and I'm going to add brown for the tips here and a little bit up there. A lot of times that's usually yellow, but sometimes it gets a little brown as the banana ripens, so I'm going to add it brown like it's a little bit riper. And you can even add some spots, some brown spots to your banana if you like to, just to show where it's a ripe banana. Alright, so there's our banana, and the last one we'll do a kiwi. Alright, so the outside of a kiwi, pretty basic. It's a oval type shape, and it's like a little bump here on the bottom. And if you want to add some of the little lines for like the little fuzziness, little fuzzy texture in the outside of it, you can do that. The fun part is the inside. When you cut it open, I'm going to draw like an oval shape like this, almost a circle, and then draw a little bump just to show the outside of it. And inside you have a bunch of little seeds. Oops, I drew that one too big. There we go. A bunch of little seeds in the center. Just a bunch of little dots there, and then the colors of the green inside kind of are very light in the middle. I'm drawing little lines that, because they kind of blend that way. It's very light in the middle, then some dark green, and then dark green on the very outside, and a little bit lighter green in between. I'm going to color it in so you can see what I mean. So we'll start with a very light in the middle, very light green, just like that. And then you can kind of have it coming out a little bit too, and you can go over some of that with the darker parts, and then do a little bit light or a little bit darker for the parts in here. So I'm leaving this part kind of uncolored and the very outer part of the circle uncolored, because that's where my darkest green is going to go. Let's do like that. Alright, and then do a little darker. There we go. And you see where these kind of blend in there. I'm using those little slashes we made as a guide, and color in just a little bit along the outside. There we go. So that'll be the inside of our kiwi, and then we'll use brown for the outside, darker brown. And for that one too, if you want to do like some zigzaggy lines in there to show like the furry type texture. That's okay. Use like some lighter ones up here, and then as I go back, I'll press down harder. Just to show a little bit of shading, the light's coming from up here. So a little bit lighter on top, a little bit darker on the bottom. There we go. So we have our kiwi. Alright, well I hope you enjoyed today's Let's Draw, and I'd love to see your work if you want to share it in the comments below. And if there's any other Let's Draws you'd like to see in the future, please also post in the comments below and I'll try to do them. Alright, hope to see you next time.